The federal government says it has reason to believe that terrorists are preparing another attack against the United States. Good evening, I'm John Ratliff.
And I'm Nicole Samuelson. Attorney General John Ashcroft says 18,000 law enforcement agencies have been notified and the country is on high alert.
Gina London has more. It's tonight's top story.
Osama bin Laden's terrorist network is likely to strike, but it can't say when or where.
If you're already on high alert, it's hard to go any higher. But for the second time this month, the government is warning Americans.
There may be additional terrorist attacks within the United States and against United States interests over the next week.
Ashcroft said they have credible but not specific information, prompting puzzled reactions from some lawmakers.
I would like to have some more specificity associated with this warning so that we would not be in fear of the unknown, which is probably one of the greatest problems that we face in this war on terror.
In spite of the uncertainties, the U.S. Homeland Security Director said today what additional precautions can be made are being undertaken.
We need to heighten the awareness. We need to inform, as the Attorney General did yesterday, 18,000 law enforcement agencies. We need to talk to our energy companies. We need to just ramp up our ability to be alert, ramp up our security.
The government also said the new threat is not likely connected to the current anthrax situation. That is, there are 2 new confirmed cases. A woman with the skin version in New Jersey, and New York's mayor announced a woman there has the more dangerous inhalation kind. Early today in Afghanistan, another round of air attacks on Taliban targets. The U.S. seeming to reject a call to stop bombing during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan.
We're committed to this for as long as it takes.
Now back here in Washington, later today, the Secretary of Transportation, Norm Mineta, is expected to come out and discuss some even further heightened security measures to take place in the United States. Among them, even more stringent baggage screening at the airports. Reporting in Washington, Gina London. Now back to you.
16 people have been diagnosed with anthrax.
Militant Muslim clerics are meeting in remote northwest Pakistan to decide whether to call off pro-Taliban protesters. The demonstrators are blocking a key highway near the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. They believe Pakistan's government is betraying the country and Islam by joining U.S. military efforts. They've reportedly used landmines and boulders to seal off at least 7 sections of the road. Police are threatening to use force to disperse the angry crowd. Meanwhile, other pro-Taliban Pakistanis have reportedly seized local government offices and an abandoned airstrip in the town of Chilas. On another front, Iraqi President Saddam Hussein warns the war in Afghanistan could spread. That information comes from a letter addressed to, quote, the people and governments of the West, including the United States. The letter was read on Iraqi television by a spokesman. Hussein is calling on other countries to help defeat the United States. Also in the letter, Hussein writes about the anthrax threat and accusations that Iraq could have been responsible for the bacteria attacks.
Americans can now expect an even greater hike in safety precautions while traveling. The Bush administration is poised to step up security even further on U.S. planes, trains, trucks, and ships. Earlier today, Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta called for, among other things, closer scrutiny of airline passengers and baggage. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, Senators McCain and Hollings are pushing hard for a bill that puts airport baggage screeners on the federal payroll. The bill passed in the Senate by a vote of 100-0. Senator Rockefeller of West Virginia says federalization will provide travelers with better protection.
The overwhelming majority of Americans want this to be a federal responsibility. They are correct. I hope that we will move quickly. There has been way too much delay on this issue, no pun intended.
Correction, that was Senator John McCain. The House of Representatives is expected to take on its version of the airline security bill tomorrow. And despite recent security increases, there will be less National Guardsmen at 4 Indiana airports. Major Sarah Hall says the troops will be reduced at airports in Indianapolis, Evansville, Fort Wayne, and South Bend. The Indiana National Guard had sent 146 soldiers to raise security at 6 airports after the September 11th terrorist attacks. Hall said the Federal Aviation Administration has reduced the number to 111.
Delaware County is taking action to protect county officials from possible terrorist attacks. A temporary concrete wall has been installed outside of the Delaware County office building. The 1-ton sections of highway barriers were put in place this morning. They're part of an overall plan to tighten security in the wake of the September 11th attacks. Delaware County Commissioner Jack Stonebreaker Jr. calls the 2-foot-tall barriers an insurance policy. The barriers are intended to help protect more than 200 county employees who work in the building each day.
A colder than normal winter might be heading our way. David Arnold, director of the Ball State University Weather Station, predicts that temperatures in Muncie will likely be 2 to 4 degrees colder than usual during November, December, and January. Arnold adds that the area will probably get the normal amount of total precipitation, but more of it will be in the form of snow rather than rain. And Katie Collins joins us with our first look at weather.
Right, we're taking a look at Trick or Treat for tomorrow night. It's actually going to be wonderful outside. It's partly cloudy. It's going to be 58 degrees when the trick-or-treaters head out, and after the sun starts to set, it's going to get down to about 45 degrees. And I hear tomorrow is also your birthday.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who told you that, but yeah, they were right.
Why are you going trick-or-treating?
Maybe a little.
Well,
I like
that's a way to
candy.
celebrate.
Thank you.
Well, state students are brightening up their streets with their carved pumpkins and scary decorations in preparation for Halloween tomorrow. These streets will be covered with trick-or-treaters in search for candy tomorrow evening. All children need to remember safety when gathering their goods. They should wear reflective clothing and walk with adults or in big groups. Many businesses in the village are joining in the holiday spirit. Dill Street Bar and Grill has decorated their facility with the Charles and the Chocolate Factory theme in preparation for Wednesday night's annual Halloween party. The locker room is also joining with scary decorations. And for those of you kids under the age of 12 who want to start Halloween early this year, you can head on down to the Student Center Ballroom for a party sponsored by the University Program Board. Activities include basketball, a haunted house, bobbing for pumpkins, and a frightful version of musical chairs. The party starts at 6:30 and lasts until 8 p.m., and admission is free.
Trick-or-treaters can expect a full moon on Halloween. Astronomers say this is the first time in 46 years. The next one won't appear until 2020. Some astronomers believe jack-o'-lantern carving was inspired by the orange October moon, which is caused by dense layers of the Earth's atmosphere. The Seven Sisters constellation, which looks like a small cluster of grapes, will also be visible tomorrow night. Mythically, the Seven Sisters grouping signals the time of year to honor the dead. When NewsCenter at 5:30 continues, will some new improvements to the statehouse be constitutional? We'll let you know.
Plus, Ford Motor Company is turning a new leaf with a new man at the helm. All that and more when East Central Indiana's only live local newscast continues. William Clay Ford Jr. is the new head of operations for the Ford Motor Company. The great-grandson of company founder Henry Ford made the announcement today. Ford, who has been chairman of the board since 1998, will be replacing Jacques Nasser as president and chief executive officer. He says several factors led to the change in leadership, including the recall of millions of Firestone tires used on Ford SUVs. He believes he can turn the company around.
We lost our focus in several areas, and some of it may be chasing a strategy, but some of it may have been clearly was outside events like Firestone that also weighed in heavily.
The change marks the first time a member of the Ford family has been in operational control since Henry Ford II resigned in 1979.
Will a proposed Ten Commandments monument displayed on the State House lawn be constitutional? That's the question Indiana is asking the U.S. Supreme Court. A U.S. Court of Appeals upheld the preliminary injunction in July that barred the monument. The state is arguing that the monument is not an endorsement of religion, but an acknowledgement of the historical importance of the Ten Commandments.
Conseco Incorporated reports almost $411 million in losses during the third quarter. The Carmel Finance and Insurance Company says it wrote off $471 million in bad loans and investment losses. The loss announced today amounted to $1.21 a share. The company reported earnings of almost $61 million or 18 cents per share. That was up from $40.8 million or 12 cents a share last year. Well, Thompson Multimedia is in some hot water tonight. A federal jury says the Carmel-based company violated a Japanese company's patent by using knockoff parts in cassette players and boomboxes. Tanishin Denki Company of Tokyo wants Thompson to remove all products containing the disputed parts off the shelves. This could affect millions of boomboxes and tape players. Thompson Multimedia could also be forced to pay up to $30 million in damages.
Forecasters are tracking a tropical depression that has a chance to move into the Caribbean later this week. Tropical Depression 15 is stationary west-southwest of Nicaragua. Forecaster Jack Bevan at the National Hurricane Center in Miami says while one long-range model shows the system hitting Florida, it's way too early to know if the storm will be a threat later in the week.
Well, hopefully none of that here. I don't think we're going to get hit by any tropical storms.
No, we won't get hit by any tropical storms, but I'll let you know if there's anything else in the forecast for later this week after the break. As you can see, today's high and low were actually not that far off from normal. The sunrise for tomorrow will be at 7:10 a.m. and tonight we will see the sun set around 5:41 p.m. Current conditions outside, it's cloudy, 57 degrees, southeast wind 7 miles per hour. It's actually relatively comfortable outside compared to what it has been for the past week. And for the radar, you can see there's a significant amount of precipitation in the west. California and surrounding states have been having a serious drought, so this is much needed precipitation. And as you can also see, there's another significant area of precipitation in the northern Midwest. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa are seeing quite a bit of precipitation, but that won't be moving over here to us anytime soon. It will move out to the northeast as the night progresses. Tonight, we are going to see partly cloudy skies, low 43 degrees, and southeast wind 7 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, we will see temperatures around 53 degrees, again partly cloudy. Temperatures will rise as the day goes on, and so will the wind speed. Tomorrow afternoon, we will be looking at a low pressure system that was what was bringing rain, to the upper northeast earlier this week. We'll be producing some serious wind in our area, but other than that, it will be a relatively pleasant day. Again, tomorrow we will see partly cloudy, high 68 degrees. Wind will be from the south at 15 miles per hour. And for our 3-day forecast, we will be seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Friday, we do have a chance for some rain, but Saturday should be good for our football game. 68 degrees, low of 46 degrees. So it's looking to be a relatively nice week. I mean, we're going to be up near 70 again. You can't beat that. So I'm pretty excited.
Okay, well, one thing to watch out for around this time of the year, people start to get sick and seem to get the colds. I know I've met a few people today that have colds, stuffy noses, and coughs. So that's something to watch out for. And people are beginning to watch out for the flu this year. But only this year, the fear of the flu is a little different because its symptoms are similar to inhalation anthrax.
And in years past, doctors have not typically prescribed antibiotics for the flu, but as CNN's Rhea Blakely reports this year, patients may be taking them anyway.
The early symptoms of inhalation anthrax and the flu are almost identical. Malaise, generally feeling wiped out, fever, headache, and muscle aches and pains. But it's important to distinguish because from there, inhalation anthrax progresses rapidly.
What happens with anthrax is it then very quickly goes into a highly accelerated form of respiratory failure, total body organ system failure.
Antibiotics don't work for the flu, but they're essential for inhalation anthrax. And once the flu season progresses, it's the doctors on the front line who will be deciding who needs those antibiotics.
By the time December and January roll around, there's going to be an awful lot of patients coming in with flu-type symptoms. And at that point, if there's not a handle on this, it's going to be very difficult to figure out who has anthrax, who doesn't.
That's because there's no easy test. It takes a variety of tools for doctors to accurately distinguish between anthrax and the flu. The key is whether someone could have been exposed to the bacteria.
Probably the best way, before you even get into lining up the symptoms of one and comparing it with the symptoms of another, is to look at the setting in which this occurs.
But that's the problem. People aren't always sure whether where they live or work could be a target for anthrax. So since it's otherwise hard to tell, it's likely doctors will err on the side of caution this year and counter years of warnings about overuse of antibiotics.
People probably will be giving more antibiotics than they normally would because patients are going to almost demand it, and physicians, some physicians might just give in to the pressure of that.
But would it be the pressure of a 60-day course? Not likely. The presence of anthrax bacteria can be confirmed in a blood test in about a week. There is a rapid flu test that can be used as one part of the overall evaluation, but other infections have flu-like symptoms, and getting the flu shot alone is not enough to avoid getting the flu. While useful, it's only considered about 80% effective. Rhea Blakey, CNN, Washington.
Okay, well, Margie Zehart joins us with a little Ball State football news. Third straight game in a row.
Yes, third straight game. We are on a winning streak, folks. I'll have news on the Ball State football team, some volleyball news, and Michael Jordan. He returns tonight. I'll have it all when NewsCenter 43 comes back. The Ball State Cards winning streak. Although some may still chuckle at the idea, the division-leading Cards have won 3 in a row and have a battle with the boys from Central Michigan this weekend. Last time BSU and Central met, the Cards held them to only 8 first downs. Compare that to our 34. Ball State came out on top that game, 38-34 last year. Don't let the stats fool you, though. Central's last game with Northern Illinois this past weekend netted them 493 total yards and 27 first downs. Ball State is 2-0 in the MAC West, while the Chippewas go into Saturday 0-2 in the same division. Kickoff for this Parents Weekend matchup is slated for 1 p.m. And the Ball State Volley Cards are still racking up the wins at home. Next game, the Cardinals look for their 41st straight win in Muncie against the only team from the Mid-American Conference to ever beat them in Worthen Arena, the Miami Redhawks. Ball State has put up another streak, 41 straight match wins over MAC teams in Muncie, dating back all the way back to November 15th of 1997. Ball State here seen beating up on Ohio this past weekend. The Cards then traveled to Northern Illinois this Friday. Both schools are 11-2 in MAC play. Ball State is 15-6 overall. And the college football scene is in full effect with this season's first BCS rankings coming out last week. This week, the great road that decides the Rose Bowl has the following teams in the top 5. Number 1, Nebraska, followed by number 2, Oklahoma. The Huskers beat the Okies on Saturday, so those teams just switched rankings this week. Next is Miami. They face Temple this weekend, who is 2-5. No problems there. 4th-ranked Michigan takes on in-state rival Michigan State, and the Texas Longhorns face the 2-game winning Baylor. And you wonder sometimes why these teams are ranked so high. This week, Miami's ranked number 1 in the AP and ESPN poll. And security will be in full force this evening with the first pitch being thrown out by President George Bush at the World Series in New York. Hold on just a second. The Yankees are down in the series 0-2, and although fans are trying to keep up their chins for their beloved Yanks, the Bronx Bombers have been held to a measly 6 hits and 1 run in the past 18 innings. Tonight's pitcher Roger Clemens says old injuries aren't bothering him. He feels good.
I still enjoy the challenges. I know if I'm gonna, hurt the team, which in this case, I'm not, because my body feels really good, knock on wood.
You're never really going to know until he goes out there. However, we feel good enough about him to have pitched him in Game 3.
And going to battle on the mound for the Diamondbacks tonight is Brian Anderson. Game time is set for 8 o'clock. And Michael's seen here surveying his old playground, taking it easy. A media horde of some 500 journalists from all over the world are expected to be on hand in Madison Square Garden tonight to see MJ's first regular season game tonight. And remember that well-paid-for courtside seat next to Spike Lee I talked about last week? Well, the person paid all the money and won't even see the game. The still anonymous winning bidder gave the ticket to a child of one of the firefighters lost in the World Trade Center attack. And if you pay over $100,000 for a ticket, I don't know. I might want to see the game, but I think what he did was a good thing.
That was a great cause.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what to think about Jordan coming back.
Yeah.
Do
You know,
like it? Do you not?
preseason, he averaged over 22 points a game, so he
Right.
still has it at
Well,
age 38.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right.
Thanks, Margie.
Well, NewsCenter at 5:30 continues. Katie Collins will join us with a quick look at your Halloween forecast.
Plus, we'll let you know what's coming up tonight on NewsCenter at 9:30. Stay tuned.
Okay, Katie, one more time for Nicole's birthday and for trick-or-treaters. What are we looking at?
Well, for tonight, we are going to see a low of about 43 degrees, partly cloudy tomorrow on Nicole's birthday. We will be seeing temperatures around 53 degrees in the morning and moving into the mid-60s, close to 70 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. And for tomorrow night, we'll have a good day for the trick-or-treaters.
Definitely good news. Thank you, Katie. And coming up new tonight at 9:30, ghosts and ghouls gather on Ball State's campus in the form of trick-or-treating kids, of course. We'll have the spooks of that Halloween party. Also, what's happened to Soviet nuclear weapons, and have they fallen into the wrong hands? Some think so. Those stories and more new tonight at 9:30.
We'll spend the rest of the night trying to get Margie organized over there.
I know.
Every week.
Last week it was the hair flip. This week my scripts are messed up.
Well, we're going to have to work on that.
I know. You're going to have to teach me, John. Teach me
All right.
the ways of anchoring.
Thanks for joining us for NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm John Ratliff.
And I'm Nicole Samuelson. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN Student Bureau. Be sure to tune in tonight for NewsCenter at 9:30. Good night.